Alright, welcome back. What window of time was there? Let's find out. What? What can I use to show her that it's possible the box was not always there where it is now? I mean, we stopped for a bit to transfer some cargo. You're food in the Republic to Zhangfei. Yes, despite a short layover in Zhangfei in order to refuel. That wasn't the only reason for the layover. We also transferred some cargo. With the box in question, we only transferred onto the plane at that time. Further proof my point, let's take a look at what's next to the box in question. It's labeled Zhangfei Express. Correct, meaning it was loaded on the plane in Zhangfei. Now, what if the box in question was also loaded on the same time? I mean, the box was not here in the cargo hold during the Europe-Zhangfei leg of the flight. Being a clear drop from which Edge Hicks could have fallen was that entirely possible. But your theory is still very far-fetched. Let me a chance to prove how very likely my scenario is. First, I'll be able to examine that piece of cargo in more detail. Investigation again. This is rather a large piece of cargo. Attack on it, sir. Let's see. Alfred statue. Never heard of it. No, but all I care we can prove it wasn't here at the time of the crime. Let's get investigating, sir. What? Why are you mad, Lablanc? What's your issue? Look here, do not go about touching my possessions without my permission. Don't rush up on me like that, pal. This belongs to Mr. Lablanc, doesn't it? Let's see what else I can find out from him. Lablanc, I have questions about your cargo. Take it that this large piece of cargo belongs to you, Mr. Lablanc. Of course it is mine. I shipped this fine piece of art from Europe. This Alfred statue is worth maybe 1,000,000 cents. No, maybe much, much more. Mr. Lablanc's reasons for choosing this plane has been the large cargo hold. 10 million cents? I suppose you stop trying to calculate how many packets of noodles that makes, detective. Darn, how did you do that? I feel like you keep getting better and better at seeing right through me every year. Though I go with each revolution of the planet around the sun, I have the distinct impression that it continues to mentally spin in place. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, so that 10 million cents, is that in euros or dollars? Does it really make a difference to our case? Mr. LeBlanc, there's a chance your cargo was related to our murder case. I was wondering if you would allow us to examine it a bit closer. It is a very valuable piece of art, so no, there'll be no touching. Well, we got a new piece of logic. Was it smuggled? Possibly. Mr. Blanc has something to do with the smuggling ring. And it's possible this fake statue is brought on board in Zhangfei. I think I need to question him a bit further. Excuse me, Mr. Arch Dealer. Is this fake? About your statue, Mr. LeBlanc. I wonder if it might be a fake. What? How dare you say my art is a fake? I expect your statue may be the target of an international smuggling ring. Don't say such fantastical things. Those thieves would not dare. I have certification on my cargo right here. Do you mean the cargo's certification document? Mr. Zeke LeBlanc, why didn't you say so earlier? Please show it to us at once. I can't read this. What does it say? This plane is dated. The cargo was put in the plane in Europe. And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. Too bad for you. The statue was brought on board in Europe, just as it states in the certificate. No, that's... which means that there was never a window of time in which the statue wasn't sitting there. I especially disagree. We can't discount the theory until I see the statue for myself. Then you can have your wish. Look at it yourself and see if I'm right. I don't have seen this somewhere before. This is the Alfred. Gives such a feeling of art. I can practically smell it. This statue is a high amount of its historical value. It was unveiled in a museum in Europe. I brought it up to this country to exhibit it. Leave a closer look is warranted here. Yeah, let's look at that bad boy. This is the infamous Alfred statue. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Did you find something? There's something wrong with this picture. We should examine it in more detail. These eyes made of some sort of gem? It's a real nice shade of orange. It's like I couldn't tell they were jewels. Well, they kind of remind me of eyes of this stray cat that lives near my house. It is supposed to be this color. It's possible this statue is a fake. It could be. It's supposed to somehow reflect any of the evidence I have. Yeah. Oh yeah, I have a... Oh yeah, look at that bad boy. Those are red. Dim eyes are orange. Eureka! Those eyes are awfully orange, don't you think? Yeah, and pretty. They remind me of sunsets when I was in grade school, sir. I don't think you see what I'm talking about. No, I do. But it's really like the color of the sun when it's setting, sir. Ah, the memories. I remember standing out in that field, spinning with my arms out until I felt ill. I don't care about sunsets. Focus, detective. What color is the eye in this photo? Uh-huh. Ah, sir, they're red. As I thought. The statue was a fake. Mr. Lablanc. What do you want? Do you not know I'm a busy man? 2 seconds for your answer. The Alfred, suppose is your pride and joy, is it not? It's the biggest trophy on this European trip. Do you know why I had to persist this statue? The trigger started 17 years ago. Better grab a chair, sir. It sounds like this is going to be a long story. Mr. Lablanc, I read to inform me you knew my heart felt sympathy, but... What is that? Sympathy? For what? You'll see. I'd like you to compare the eyes. That large fellow there has very bright and pretty eyes compared to you. I wasn't talking about the two of us. I meant the eyes of the statue in front of us and the one in this photo. Why the sudden yelling? Now then. Oh. This photo of the statue on display in the museum in Europe. Dwah! Now do you see, Mr. Lablanc? The statue proves is a fake. A fake! I believe that further examination will be required. Now that we have confirmed this is indeed a fake, let's be some sort of proof that is brought in on board in Zingfei. I'll present to you the evidence that will resolve the remaining contradiction. Oh. Yeah. Look at this. It's on top of the Zingfei cargo. It sounds like it's stepping all over its neighbor's cloth cover. Kind of reserves my owner's attitude in a sense, sir. You! What did you say just now? Further, my clothing him is not being accepted by anyone. It's too expensive for me to allow it to happen. Make the trespass of my subordinates. Why should I give it if the dress passes? Unless it is a specific dress, you keep it. Yeah, that doesn't work. Because this was brought on in Zingfei. There's clearly a contradiction here. What are you going on about? This is a simple case of cargo extended on the piece of cargo. Ah, that's not possible. But it is. It shouldn't be this way, but the statue's on top of the cloth. Only the neighboring piece of cargo was brought on board in Zingfei. There's no way that any part of it should wind up under something from Europe. Which means this fake statue was smuggled on board in Zingfei. What about the cargo code certificate? Let me ask in return. What about Agent Hicks? Why did he come down here in the middle of a flight? There's one reason why, to secure proof of smuggling activity aboard this flight. So you say, but I don't think he had to do that mid-flight. Could have just easily expected all of the cargo after the plane landed. That may be true, however, but you were backwards, Francisca. Sorry, Hicks could have waited until after the plane had landed. But he had a reason to coming down here with the cargo hold. Once he had found the fake at the airport, would have been after a swap had occurred. At that time, suspicion would naturally fall on the statue's owner. We have no way to prove that the statue was switched without his knowledge, which means there is someone involved who is forging or modifying cargo certificates. Yeah, thanks. I need that. I guess the victim knew the real version is going to get nabbed, huh? Yes, so this photo could be seen as nothing more than a simple souvenir. It was in fact taken to be used as a reference document later on. Next, Hicks had to prove this smuggling had taken place. Came down here to take a picture of the cargo hold. A rather empty one at that, right before the fake statue could be loaded on board. A photo of the hold's missing a valuable piece of cargo would have been proof enough. After that, all he had to do was hold the Zingfei cargo crew and arrest the smuggler. Exactly, this only goes to prove my theory. If he was not in the cargo during the Europe Zingfei leg of the trip, there would have been enough height from Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death. Officer, move the statue immediately. I want a thorough examination of the floor underneath. Now! Miss Montgomery, I'm ready to report my findings. Go on. Moving the off-red statue out of the way. Yesterday I entered it with Lumina, and there was a reaction. I see there was a reaction to the Lumina, indication that there was blood in that spot. Can we stop looking at it now, sirs? It seemed that my deductions were correct after all. Suppose it would appear that way. Her cleaned up the blood as well. How do you think the killer did that? How did they clean up the blood? With the cloth. The killer used the bloody cloth I found inside the suitcase to clean up the mess. I see, they had needed to clean up the blood before the plane landed in Zingfei. Yeah, because otherwise the killer would have discovered it during the layover. So you guys are saying the murder happened before the plane landed in Zingfei. There's no other conceivable timeline for the events of the murder. But if it's true, then there's certain sworn testimony of doubt. Murder occurred before we landed in Zingfei. This becomes highly suspect. Or Mealy's testimony, because he saw after. Recall Miss Mealy's testimony about Agent Hicks in regards to his departed Zingfei. I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. Claimed that Hicks was alive at the time of the service calls, but that totally contradicts the facts, sir. Why would she lie about something like that? I think the only person who can answer that is Miss Mealy herself. To be continued. I'm not to be continuing. I don't need to save. Frick saving. And Miss Tenero is back as well, for some reason, even though she was probably already on the way to the station at this point. But hey, whatever. Anyway, it's 3:55 p.m. now. Miss Mealy? She's sleeping? Miss Mealy? Huh? Do you recall what you said earlier? About when you answered some service calls when we were reporting from Zingfei. Huh? You thought Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible. Mr. Hicks was already dead long before we ever touched down in Zingfei. Oh? Best Cammy Mealy. Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did? No one could make a mistake so large, Miss Mealy. But I made that kind of boo-boo all the time. Ugh. This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well, Miss Mealy. If you please tell me about your alibi during the time span. And just before we landed, this is where we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found. Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? She's sleeping. Wake up! Yeah. From 2 to 3, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lord himself. Yeah. And from 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lord himself. How was that man supposed to react to testimony like that? Miss Mealy, wake up! Ah! She fell asleep again. Looks like the only way that I'm going to be able to wake her up is oppressing her. Will you wake up, miss? Jeez.
Hold it!
We're in the flight attendant's room. If I remember correctly, food was being served in first class in the lounge, between the hours of 3 and 4. Yeah, but that kind of is just run by Miss Rhonda. And then what you're doing in the flight attendant's room at that time. Eating, and then having a most delicious dream. I mean, you were neglecting your duties. No way! Sleeping's part of our job too, you know. Yes, you were sleepy. You were in the attendance room by yourself again. So you were alone the entire time, were you? Yeah, no one even never popped their head in to say hi. Oh, I think Carter just popped in to say hi. Is there an objection? Yeah, of course. Do it. Miss Mealy, there is a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony. Huh? What are you talking about? It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room the whole time from 5 to 6. Because somebody also was in there. Well, if you'd be so kind to take a look at this receipt, Miss Mealy. Huh? A receipt? For what? It's for the suitcase Miss Nero bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. You can see it clearly says for 5:40 a.m. Miss Tenero? Yes! Huh? Why is the killer here? I thought you would have ever locked up by now. A question that should be presented as a witness, so we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss Tenero. By the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., took a trip from first class down to the first floor and flight shop, correct? Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase. After which, I went straight to the attendance room to drop it off. You see Miss Mealy in there at that time? No. So Miss Mealy, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Just can't be Mealy. Huh? The bathroom? I'll be the one to ask questions here. Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know? You take me for a fool. That's a little too convenient to be true. But it's the truth. Cross my heart. I'm gonna please proof to kind of argue her at this point. You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out? Sure, what you got? Is it more than, oh, I was in there by myself the whole time, and then, oh, I was still in there by myself the whole time? Reason for suspicion. Look, I know you're sus to me because I'm one of the crew, but you think maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhonda too? She's the one in charge of the elevator key right in the shop, you know. Yes, me, that makes her super suspicious. Please leave Miss Tenero out of this conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now. I don't get it. Why are you covering Miss Rhonda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you got your eye on Miss Rhonda. Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I? Never mind. But you wanna know something? Miss Rhonda is actually kind of... I absolutely have no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now's not the time for this sort of talk. It's really not. Yeah. True. And what are you in charge of, Miss Mealy? I take care of the attendance room? That doesn't count. Oh, but I spent so much time in there, it might as well be my responsibility. Miss Edgeworth, Kimmy is very talented in languages. So she says passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Virginian. She's the only one in this flight who's fluent. Oh, you mean that kind of like, what am I in charge of? Why did you say so in the first place? What else could I have meant? Yes, I'm really good at Virginian. She's fluent in Virginian. I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Virginian. Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Virginian. Very interesting. Yes, me, that makes her super suspicious. Some sort of Virginian stuff. I wanted that document, but not yet. So what exactly do you do as when in charge of some Virginian stuff? I do things like translate things from and into Virginian. Kimmy's the only member who understands Virginian, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Mealy, I take it as your job to process all the Virginian paperwork. Yeah, see, I totally pull my weight around here. So it would appear. It's very unlikely to... Miss Mealy is very unladylike to put suspicion on someone else. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying that Miss Rhonda is very sus. There you go, again, pushing everything onto her again. I don't get what you're saying. It must be a really abstract concept, huh? Only abstract here is the landscape inside your head. Yeah, what about this bad boy? So you're the only one in this flight crew that speaks Virginian. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Virginia for a while. And that is the case. The signature on the document belongs to you, doesn't it? This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. Lablanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Virginian is you, Miss Mealy. Without your participation, the smuggling of the Alfred could not have occurred. Don't sleep while I'm putting my finger at you. Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth. Exactly as you say. You're confessing to have participated in the smuggling. No, far from it. It's the truth that I was the one who signed out on that document. But you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There's no direct correlation, after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper. Really, all you did was sign it. Nothing to check if the cargo would be loaded on the plane properly. So sorry about that. Seems he's finally woken up. There's gonna be one tough fight. Suppose, and this is just a supposition, if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that. Objection! If you're involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hick was in the middle of an investigation regarding the smuggling ring. Just when he's about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever start to think that maybe Rhonda is a smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhonda has access to many things on the plane for work purposes. Shooting bubbles. Perhaps there's some element of a setup at play in this case. What are you talking about? Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you. I meant the killer. First it was myself, and now it's Miss Tenere was under the microscope. Seems to me our killer is going to great lengths to pin the crime on anyone they can. We have no proof that Rhonda is being set up or that she isn't. Actually, I believe that she wasn't intended to intended target from the beginning. I believe the plan was to push all the blame for the crime onto her. There's evidence to prove my suspicions. This proves the killer was out to frame Miss Tenere from the very beginning. Because... the suitcase.
Take that.
The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps he was to move the body from the lower deck up to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble of doing so? The only way of all these actions makes sense. If the killer wanted to frame Miss Tenere for the murder. Miss Tenere buys a suitcase on every flight she works on without fail. But should her suitcase be switched for the one containing the victim's body, it would put her in a very tight spot. Fortunately for the killer, Terrence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back in the suitcase. Ergo, they made it do with whatever was his hand. Adapted their plan. Tried to flame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop. And brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A little work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a rough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That's because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. Who the victim was? No. Clues are lots to do with the body. This so happened, there were bunches of empty suitcases nearby. Being a skinny man, the killer thought to put his body in the suitcase and hand it off. In the open, the coincidence just an elaborate coincidence? That's not what I said. Wrong introduced my meaning, Miss Mealy. What the wrong introduction is you. Think before you speak again. Ow. I was about to get to it. Where? Where? This information is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, the custom is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chance the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there is no choice but to frame either Mr. Nero or myself. In other words, the only one who fits the boundaries of the criminal's movement is not Mr. Nero or myself, but you, Miss Kemi Mealy. Only you and you alone can be the killer. And... Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me, other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. See the outline of how the murder occurred, but no definitive evidence. Isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that I can't quite fit into the big picture. Yeah, his phone is still gone. I don't have any actual evidence. I thought not. That's because it went missing, and it still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? Now that clearly it is this case, there's one piece of evidence I kept getting stuck on. It is the victim's cell phone. Francisca? You're waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hick's cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me. That's right! Agent Hick's cell phone cannot be found at the crime scene. I mean, the killer took the phone with them. Precisely. But that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer. Ha! Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death, that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? We don't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Francis, I'd like you to ask your assistants. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Of course I do. Now call it for me. Oh? Agent Hick's phone! It's ringing here somewhere, sir. I hear it, Detective. Now where is it coming from? Over here? I think the phone is up in the flight attendant's room. Oh. To the flight attendant's room. Go! Is it on the bed right there? Just sitting here? No. The closet. It's home of your here, sir. What? No, it can't be. It's gotta be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is this, sir? It's Miss Tenero's. What? I mean, again, that's not solid proof either. And we're back. Well, this part's gone on a little long. I didn't expect all these twists and turns. So, we will come back next time, finish this up. Probably. Most likely.